Camp gone for you so far? What have you been working on?
That's been great. It's I think it's been really productive because they've been trying to get us out of our comfort zone, obviously in the off season. There's a lot of like new moving parts that we're trying to figure out, kind of with like swing stuff, and obviously, with it being my first year in pro ball, there's a lot of just different ways to learn. It's different than college baseball, so it's been a lot of fun learning, about the Pirates hitting philosophies and stuff like that. So a lot of the focus has just been on, how can we get a more productive swing that plays better, in pro ball than it did in college. So
I talked with John Lombardo a couple of months ago. What he saw in the whole process when he was out there scouting you. And he said the thing that he heard from other people he played against, other pitchers, and that was you're like one of the toughest outs they face. You're just one of those guys who is always a tough at bat. What's kind of your philosophy of hitting, the way you approach hitting, and how has it meshed so far with what you've learned here with the Pirates?
Yeah, hitting's tough.
Yeah.
So that's honestly one of kind of the coolest compliments you can get is to be a tough out.
Yeah.
And obviously as baseball moves in kind of a different direction with power, and you see a lot of strikeouts nowadays, and that's that's understandable as to why teams prioritize power and put the ball out of the yard. But I think there's something to be said about having a competitive at bat, and I think that's something that I pride myself on is, no matter what we work on here, I talk to the coaches, and it's like there's always been an ability for me to go out and be able to trust myself and do what I know what I can do, and that's just to have a good at bat.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the goal obviously is to be able to put the ball out of the yard, hit doubles, hit triples, and have those extra base hits. But at the end of the day, it's those compliments come from just being able to go out there and compete and just trying to be a tough out. So,
looking at that slash line, you had more than a couple good, quality at bats, introduction to pro ball. Was it as big a jump as you thought it was, and how rewarding is it now that you're in a camp like this? You have a good first season under your belt.
Yeah, it was pro ball was different. Obviously, the talent level it's incredible. Obviously, you get guys from different countries and stuff like that you don't see. I think kind of the biggest jump for me was not necessarily like you see great velo at Division I level, but so the velo just stays the same almost. There's a tick up in velo, but now the movement just gets more and more disgusting as you move on. So that was kind of the tough part for me, seeing like the sinker slider guys every single at bat. But obviously, seeing a little bit of success early on was very pleasing to me. But we've kind of always had the idea that success once I try to get it to motivate me just to continue to get better. And so yeah, it was I'm very honored to be out here. I mean, it was being my first year, I didn't think I was going to get the invite, and coming up a couple weeks before I did, and so it was very honoring and very pleasing to me. So it's good to be out here.
Jackson, you were talking about the big accomplishment at this camp or whatever is taking your swing and finding a way for it to play at the major league level. You specifically, and I mean, you obviously had a pretty good transition there. Like, what did you find about your swing that was able to transition well to the major league level? And then, like, what does that process now look like for you?
Yeah, so kind of when I made the jump from Division I up here, the philosophy kind of stayed the same as far as my approach, and that was to be on time with the fastball. So I think every hitter needs to have that philosophy, because if you can't hit the fastball, well, then everything else just gets so much harder. So, but there are some things that we're trying to work on, we're trying to tweak. I get kind of heavy on my front side when I get on time with the fastball. So that's something that we've been moving towards. Is yes, I want to be on time with the fastball, but I want my body to be in the right position to do damage with the fastball. So just small stuff like that, but obviously with hitting, small stuff can turn into big stuff. So it's been a challenge here every day, just working on something and just trusting results later. So.
You were Dallas Baptist for what, 5 seasons?
So I went to junior college my first 2 years, and then after junior college I transferred to DBU, and I was there for 3 years. Okay. 2.5 COVID.
Yeah.
So
gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's it's a significant amount of college experience. And how has that helped you? Is it giving you kind of edge here in camp? You're running, you're in a room there with like a lot of a couple of guys, 18, 19 years old. where do you kind of fit in that whole mix experience-wise?
Yeah, I'm obviously more experienced than your average draft pick. So being a fifth year out of college, it was, the draft for me wasn't guaranteed. I knew that I had to have a good year, and it's honestly cool being here. And I think the Pirates expect me to kind of be that guy that leads by example a lot. So that's something that I have to think about every day when I come to work. Is like, I want my work to show that I'm experienced and that I do belong here. So it is interesting, getting to lift and to hit alongside these 18 and 19-year-old guys that are unbelievable. There's a lot of guys here that really deserve to be here in their 18. But I think you're right. There is like an edge. There is kind of a thing of experience that I kind of carry with me. I don't know kind of what that means to the younger guys, but it definitely keeps me, trying to work hard and be a good example.
Plus, you're the guy who can buy them all beer right now.
I'm sorry?
So you're the guy who can buy them a beer right now.
That's right. It's true, yeah. Yeah. Are you exclusively third base, or are you playing around other positions as well, giving you a try? Or? So I used to be exclusively third base, and then I kind of transitioned over to second base my last year of college, and continued that transition here in pro ball. So I think I played total maybe 3 or 4 games at third, and the other 35 to 40 were at second base.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Any what's that like? Just wanted to make that transition in college. But here, has it been a smooth transition as well? Easy to pick up? Or?
Yeah, I think it's been a smooth transition overall. There's a lot more kind of small things I have to pick up on in pro ball. I think that was kind of the biggest learning curve for me was understanding the game at a deeper level. As you get to pro ball, it's really all the small stuff really does matter. So that was kind of the tough thing for me. But I think overall it's been a smooth transition. I love second base. I actually enjoy second base more than I do third. So it's been fun.
Jackson, we've heard about guys talk about sort of the coaching ratio, number one, the number of coaches here, but also like the level of coaching with some of the analytics and advanced stuff being used in instruction. What was your familiarity with that stuff before this? And is that something that you get into? Like, do you follow it? Are you learning it? Where are you at sort of on that curve?
Yeah, I think the Pirates do a great job with how I love this camp because of the number of coaches and how we're training differently. I think that that we talked about it in a meeting, and we talked about how pitchers are continuing to evolve and their stuff gets better and better, and it makes it tough on hitters. And that's exactly what we have to do too. We have to continue to evolve and just kind of match their training. And so that's something that I've loved. And honestly, I'm pretty familiar with it coming from Dallas Baptist. Our training was incredibly different. We had one of the best hitting coaches in the nation, that was Dan Hefner. And so, our training was different in Dallas Baptist, and a lot of that stuff translated over to the Pirates, which has been great. And it's allowed me to kind of jump in and be familiar with the stuff that we're doing. As far as hitting, analytics and all that stuff goes, I don't really enjoy paying attention to it, just because when I'm off the field, I enjoy to kind of get my mind off of baseball. So there's not a whole lot of me watching and paying attention. It's more of just me trusting these coaches and understanding that they know what they're doing, and when I come to the field, I can trust that what we're doing is for a purpose.
When you say the training at Dallas Baptist was different, I know it's probably tough to explain in like a 1 or 2 minute sound bite or whatever you want to call it, but like what does different mean? Are you guys like doing different innovative wacky drills, or what is different?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. There's a lot of different drills that our coach would come in the next day and just completely make up, but those drills would be spot on. And it's like, Coach Hefner was such a great baseball mind, and that's why he produces so many good hitters out of Dallas Baptist. And so, but at the same time, the philosophies of Dallas Baptist and here they just want their hitters to be uncomfortable. So it's in that times where we're uncomfortable where we can actually grow. And so those are the mindsets, and that's what it's like just to be different. A lot of times just having success in a cage means you had a great day. Well, a lot of times we consider, failing in the cage to be a good day because then we can grow from it.
Yeah.
So that's something that's real interesting and different from both of these hitting philosophies. So
that's got to be hard.
Yeah.
Like go home and have a horrible day.
It is.
Yep, great work.
and that's what's been mentally challenging about this camp was, we're done at noon, and then we go home. We have to think the rest of the day about how we just failed 80% of the time. And it's like, but that's where baseball is a lot about trusting your work. So it's different, but it's fun. So.
Does it feel like a job at this point, or is it still kind of newish and so many new things coming at you that it doesn't feel like work necessarily?
It definitely feels like a job. Obviously, I would love to be home with my family and stuff like that. So I think in the grand scheme of things, it is a job, but at the same time, there's a lot of complaints out there about pro ball and that it's just a lot of work for little pay or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I'm getting paid to do what I love, and that's enough for me. So this is a dream, and I really wouldn't trade it for anything. So it's been a lot of fun, especially with the Pirates. You look organization wide, and there's good person after good person, just great people that make up the organization. That makes it well worth it. You get to meet a lot of new guys. It really is a dream. So.
Going back to DBU for a second, I know he was on the other side of things, but you and Hop catch up at all, or what's...
Yeah. So it was cool kind of seeing. So the middle of my 5th year, he obviously got called into the Pirates and got hired as the pitching coordinator. And then it just so happened I got drafted by him. So first time I saw Hop, we were in the cafeteria, and I didn't really know kind of how to maneuver that whole situation, knowing a coach at DBU. So he was like kind of watching me, and I didn't want to make eye contact or anything, so I just walked right by him. He said, "If you big league me one more time, I'm gonna have you." So it was good. Me and Hop have been catching up, a lot, and going to the same church. It's been great. So Hopper's awesome. So yeah.